help people like me every day.
Call the Mike Slocum Law Firm on the Hurt Line right now.
Tonight, the commuter nightmare, the storm, heavy snow, ice, and blinding rain from Texas all the way up to the Northeast tonight. The major bridge shut down outside New York City. The passenger plane skidding on a taxiway. Hundreds of flights canceled or delayed, the ripple effect coast to coast. And the new storm watches are already up tonight. The White House shakeup, the senior White House official to resign following allegations made by two of his ex-wives detailing alleged abuse. Also tonight, after the president said, let's have a shutdown several different ways, tonight Senate leaders come up with their own plan to avert it. The deadly police shooting playing out on a major highway, the suspect opening fire, then speeding down the wrong way of the highway, leading to multiple collisions. The manhunt at this hour, a suspected serial shooter already killing several people, and we have the chilling surveillance video. And the Patriots star, the break-in, and tonight here, the 911 call.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Wednesday night and a very messy one, too, on roads and highways across this country. A driving nightmare today. Ice, snow, heavy rain, even tornado warnings. And take a look at the radar tonight. That storm stretching from Texas all the way up to Maine. Icy conditions causing multiple accidents in Springdale, Arkansas. Look at the whiteout conditions, blinding drivers on the roads in Auburn, Nebraska. And this FedEx truck losing control in Connecticut, I should say. Hundreds of delays and cancellations coast to coast tonight, and already a new storm to tell you about, too. Watch is already up. ABC's Gio Benitez leads us off.
Tonight, treacherous driving and a messy commute for millions.
They closed it down. Really big accident.
Outside New York City, the Mario Cuomo Tappan Zee Bridge shut down after multiple crashes.
As you can see, it goes all the way back.
In New Haven County, Connecticut, a FedEx truck sliding out of control. And outside Washington, D.C., watch as this pickup truck crashes into a bakery.
I started applying my brakes as I came in. I took hold, and the truck had a mind of its own and went to the building.
At Baltimore's airport, investigators looking into why a plane skidded on the taxiway as it prepared to take off. 149 people on board, all evacuating safely. This as the storm wreaked havoc with air travel. Our flight's been delayed by more than 2 hours now, and we're still stuck on the tarmac. It's a waiting game. West of Atlanta, a severe storm toppling trees and damaging structures.
You can see the high winds knock this garage off its foundation. It is now leaning into this tree.
Outside Jackson, Mississippi, a school bus and a minivan colliding on wet roads, the bus striking a traffic light. Overnight, several people injured in multiple accidents on icy roads in Arkansas. This pickup truck on Interstate 49 completely on its head. The driver of that red car making a split-second decision.
I either had to hit the cars that were turned over, hit the car that was spinning out in front of me, or come down this ravine, and I chose the ravine.
Tragically, in Texas, a deadly mix of speed and weather costing one driver his life.
And Gio Benitez with us live tonight from very windy JFK Airport. We can hear the wind there, Gio. So many flights canceled today, and now airlines already issuing waivers for the next storm.
That's right, David. More than 1,000 flights canceled today alone, more than 5,000 delayed. And, you know, those airlines, you're right, those airlines are issuing those waivers before the next storm even hits. You can just see this wind is really picking up here, David.
All right, a messy night still ahead. Gio, thank you. And as I mentioned, there's a new storm already brewing for later in the week. But first things first, Rob Marciano with us live tonight as well on the current system. Where's it now, Rob?
Well, it's an uncomfortable mess, that's for sure, but a huge system, David, stretching all the way from the Gulf of Mexico to Maine. You see here on the radar scope, the most dangerous area right now is that pink, and it's north of I-84 to I-90 throughout much of upstate New York and Massachusetts and New England. It does get out of here by the morning rush, but it will be below freezing, so certainly some slick spots. Here's our next system. Advisories up from Montana to Michigan. The snow reaching in through the plains by Friday morning. It's in Milwaukee and Chicago. Friday afternoon, Detroit, Cleveland, a swath of 3 to 5 inches of snow. We're certainly in an active pattern. David?
Rob Marciano with us tonight as well. Thanks as always, Rob. We're going to turn next to the political storm of sorts in Washington. In the West Wing, a senior White House official now planning to resign after published allegations of abuse. Staff Secretary Rob Porter, a close aide to the president, announcing his resignation. Porter is currently in a relationship with White House Communications Director Hope Hicks, but it's what allegedly happened before that's now making headlines tonight after two of his ex-wives came forward with those allegations. Here's ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega tonight.
He is one of President Trump's top aides, a trusted advisor from day one, his staff secretary right by his side in the Oval Office. But today, Rob Porter resigned amid allegations that he physically and verbally abused his 2 ex-wives. The women coming forward to tell their stories in the Daily Mail and the online publication The Intercept. Porter's first wife, Colby Holderness, releasing a photo of her black and blue eye, saying Porter punched her in the face more than a decade ago. Press Secretary Sarah Sanders today reading a statement from Porter.
But I will not further engage publicly with a coordinated smear campaign.
Porter writing, "These outrageous allegations are simply false. I took the photos, and the reality behind them is nowhere close to what is being described. I have been transparent and truthful about these vile claims." Porter is romantically involved with White House Communications Director Hope Hicks. The pair spotted out on the town recently in this DailyMail.com photo. And today, the White House messaging crystal clear. Porter was a valued part of the team, and he was not forced out.
I think that was a personal decision that Rob made and one that he was not pressured to do.
Porter's first wife tells The Intercept he would lay on top of me, shaking me, or rubbing an elbow or a knee into me. He graduated to choking me, not ever hard enough to make me pass out or frankly to leave marks, but it was frightening and dehumanizing. Porter's second wife, Jenny Willoughby, tells The Intercept, "He came to the shower and grabbed me by the shoulders and pulled me out of the shower to continue arguing." After an incident in 2010, Willoughby filed for an emergency protective order, telling authorities he punched in the glass on the door. "I called the police, afraid he would break in." The allegations seeming to catch many in the West Wing by surprise.
Does the president have any concerns about these domestic violence allegations raised against Rob Porter?
I haven't spoken to him about specific concerns.
You haven't talked to the president about this?
About whether or not he has specific concerns, I haven't asked him that question, Cecilia.
Have you seen the photos of Rob Porter's ex-wife with a black eye?
I don't know.
Cecilia Vega with us live from the White House tonight. And Cecilia, we know Rob Porter is one of the president's top aides. Porter's own words today calling this a smear campaign. And as you reported there, the White House making it very clear that he was not pushed out.
Yeah, David, and when this story first broke, actually, Sarah Sanders and the chief of staff here, John Kelly, went on the record not only to defend Porter, they had effusive praise for him. John Kelly calling Porter a man of true integrity and honor. Today, Sarah Sanders said Porter's departure will not be immediate. As she said, he will stay on, David, to ensure there is a smooth transition here.
All right, Cecilia, thank you. Meantime, as this all plays out across town on Capitol Hill, an apparent breakthrough tonight, just hours before another possible government shutdown. Just yesterday, President Trump said he'd, quote, love to see a shutdown if Congress doesn't agree to his immigration plan. But tonight here, have Senate leaders come up with a budget plan without addressing the border wall or the Dreamers, and will the president sign off on it? ABC's chief White House correspondent Jonathan Karl tonight.
Defying President Trump's threat of a government shutdown, Democrats and Republicans today achieved something Washington hasn't seen in ages: a bipartisan agreement to fund the government for 2 years.
This budget deal is the first real sprout of bipartisanship.
I hope we can build on this bipartisan momentum.
The deal includes billions for opioid treatment, disaster relief, and infrastructure, and a big boost in defense spending. What it doesn't include? Funding for the president's border wall. Just yesterday, the president emphatically called for a government shutdown if he didn't get that money.
Let's have a shutdown. We'll do a shutdown. I'd love to see a shutdown. Without borders, we don't have a country. So would I shut it down over this issue? Yes.
But from the White House today, an apparent about-face. The president now endorsing the Senate deal that makes no promise whatsoever about the wall.
Can you clarify, the president yesterday said that he would like to shut the government down if he doesn't get funding for the wall, border security. Is what he said yesterday now no longer operative?
Look, as I said yesterday, the focus for us has always been to get a 2-year budget deal. We've made no secret the president wants funding for the wall and he wants border security, and we expect to see that reflected in the budget.
But he said he wanted to shut the government down if he didn't get it. Now that's no longer operative? Is that no longer the position?
No, the position hasn't changed. We've laid out exactly what we want to happen.
While the White House position is less than crystal clear, Defense Secretary Mattis today was definitive.
If there was a decision to shut the government down because, for example, the wall wasn't funded in this deal, how bad would that be to the military?
Shutting down the government would be very damaging to the military. It just paralyzes everything that we do if we go into that.
All right, John Karl also with us live tonight from the White House. And John, President Trump just tweeting that he supports this budget deal, but it still faces some opposition in the House tonight, doesn't it?
It sure does. First of all, House conservatives hate this agreement because it includes massive spending increases. And Nancy Pelosi today broke the record for the longest speech on the House floor in history, more than 8 hours, taking issue with the agreement because it does not include protection for the Dreamers, those undocumented immigrants brought into this country as young children. Ultimately, the odds are this will pass, but negotiations on that broader immigration deal, David, seem to be going nowhere, at least for now.
All right, to be continued on that front. John Karl, thanks. Meantime, the president facing questions from both sides of the aisle tonight for something that will cost taxpayers millions. The president once saying it could go down Pennsylvania Avenue, a military parade. President Trump calling for the parade after witnessing France's Bastille Day parade during his visit there, saying we have to top them. Here's ABC's chief global affairs correspondent Martha Raddatz tonight.
Enthralled by what he called one of the greatest parades he'd ever seen, with soldiers and tanks rolling down the Champs-Élysées on Bastille Day, Donald Trump has made no secret of his desire for his own massive military parade.
So we're actually thinking about 4th of July, Pennsylvania Avenue, having a really great parade to show our military strength.
The date is not set, but the White House has now made the ask official.
I think we're all aware in this country of the president's affection and respect for the military. We've been putting together some options.
But if it is like the one in France or, say, Russia or North Korea, it will involve lots of military hardware and money.
I don't mind a military parade to honor those who have served and their families. I have no desire to go to the Soviet hardware display. To me, that's cheesy and weak.
While the president has paid several visits to troops, he's yet to visit the 21,000 service members deployed in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. Sarah Sanders was asked today about that.
Look, I think there are a lot of different ways. Nothing has been decided or locked in stone.
Martha Raddatz with us live tonight. And Martha, what's the reaction this evening from veterans groups about the idea of the president's parade?
Well, David, while some veterans organizations support any recognition of our military, numerous combat veterans say at a time they are already stretched thin, this is just not what they need, nor the image they want to project, David.
All right, Martha, thank you. Meantime, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson tonight warning that Russia is already trying to influence the midterm elections and that the U.S. is ill-equipped to stop them. In an interview, Tillerson saying the U.S. must continue to make it clear that if they do not stop, they will, quote, invite consequences. Back here at home tonight into the deadly shooting on an American highway, a gunman opening fire, then taking off the wrong way down the highway, colliding with several cars. Part of I-95 shut down for much of the day in Florida, the interstate littered with accidents. And ABC's Victor Akendo from Florida tonight.
Motorists on one of Florida's busiest stretch of highway watching in horror as deputies surround a man near West Palm Beach. Guns drawn, car smoking. Police say the confrontation began shortly after the suspect shot a female companion at a shopping center at 9:30 this morning.
A white male suspect shot a white female, put her in a vehicle, and fled the scene.
15 minutes later, authorities start to receive calls of an erratic black Nissan Rogue SUV driving the wrong way on the highway. Florida Highway Patrol raced to the scene to find 3 separate accidents involving the suspect scattered along the interstate, causing several injuries. The suspect hitting one driver head-on. Moments later, police say they approached the passenger side of the SUV and attempt to subdue the driver with a taser gun, but it doesn't work.
The deputy said that he was in fear of his life and the life of the trooper, and opened fire and killed the suspect inside.
That woman inside the suspect's vehicle pronounced dead at the scene. The incident shutting down parts of the busy highway for more than 7 hours, creating a traffic nightmare. That suspect yet to be identified as police continue their investigation and search for a motive.
David, tonight police are investigating a separate shooting that happened yesterday that may have also involved this same suspect. David?
Victor Akendo tonight. Thank you, Victor. And one more picture from overseas at this hour. The toll from that devastating earthquake in Taiwan still rising tonight. The 6.4 quake trapping people in this apartment building. You can see it teetering right there. At least 7 people killed, 240 injured, and of course dozens still missing tonight. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Wednesday. The warning about Netflix tonight, the scam threatening many users. Also the manhunt at this hour, the serial